So we have seen in the last class about the soil formation and so on. Okay, is it recording? So we have seen in the last class. Is it visible now? Should I continue? In the last class we have seen about the soil formation, origin of the soil, as we said that from the rock, because of the weathering, okay, the soil would be formed, and we have seen that Tirjagi, the father of geotechnical engineering, and we have seen some photos, and we have described it, what is soil is, right? Top screen of the particular this one, earth. Wait, I'm getting some sound. So we have seen the soil formation, right? And it is a natural material, and if you go microscope, right, so there are so many things. It's formed from the parent rock. Sometimes it is transported, right? Physical weathering and the chemical weathering. Coarse grained soil would be formed by physical weathering like sandy soil and so on, okay, gravelly soil. Clay soil is formed by the chemical weathering, and we have residual soil transported and so on, okay. Again, in the transportation we have based, again defined as the uh, lacustrine deposit, okay, marine deposit, alluvial deposit, and aeolian and so on, okay, based on the transportation, this one. Today we are going to see the soil structure actually. Soil will be having some structure. Is it visible? Should I continue? Audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we'll focus on the soil structures. Okay. So we have uh, different structure in the soil. Coarse grain soil will have different structure. Clay soil will have some different structure. Silty soil will have different structures and so on. Okay. So there are different types of structures: single grain structure, honeycomb structure, flacculated structure in the clay soil, and so on. Okay. Suresh, I am in the class. Okay, I will call later. So, so where do you find this particular grain structure? Uh, you just open the sixth chapter in your K.R. Arora book. Okay. Here today you can read this one, clay minerals and the soil structure. This chapter you can read today. So I'll be going to cover this full chapter. So here, just I will show you. Hope it is visible. Yeah. So this is what the soil structure is given. Okay. So this is the soil structure. So we have this single grain structure. Uh, we have single grain structure. We have honeycomb structures. Okay. Single grain structures in the sense these are the grains. Okay. The sandy soil. This particular structure will have in cohesion less soil such as gravel, sand. Okay. So for gravel sand, you will have this kind of structure, single grain. That means it is made like this. Okay. Or generally it won't be full round shape, but if you make it like this, okay, then this becomes, we call it as a loose soil. or if you make the structure in this way, we call it as a dense soil. Understand? If you make the structure in this way, just I am considering like a round shape. Generally, it won't be there. So this is the loose structure. Here you can see some gaps, right? Gaps. Here what we are doing, from here only I am making one more. Here gaps are less, so we call it is little dense. Understand? So that's what it is given. So we have single grain structure. This is found in the case of coarse grain soil deposit. When the soil settles out of suspension in water, the particles settles independently of each other. That means when you just drop some soil, okay, coarse grain soil, particle will settle down independently. Okay. Here, major force causing their deposition in is gravitational, and the surface forces are too small to produce any effect. That means there won't be much surface forces are there. Okay, so simply it settles. So there will be particle to particle contact. Okay, in the deposits. So voids attain depends on the relative size. Okay, depending on the relative size. So this is what the single grain structures. Understand? For a cohesionless soil, what are the cohesionless soil? Gravel and sand are cohesionless soil. Cohesive soil means clayey soil. This is cohesionless, is the sandy and the gravel soil. We have single grain structures. Honeycomb anyway I'll explain you. Okay. In that we have loose and dense. Now next coming to the honeycomb structures, it is given here. So this particular structures you'll find in silty soil. So it is associated with the silt deposit. Silt deposit means we have seen this sand dunes and all here like this. Okay, very smaller particles. So this kind of honeycomb structure you can see in this particular soil. When it this single grain is bigger size of sand, and honeycomb structure when silt particle, silt means the smaller than sand, that anyway will classify it. Okay, after this one. And so when the silt particle settles out of suspension, in addition to the gravitational force, the surface force also play a significant role. That means it won't settle independently. Okay, so there would be some surface force also. When particle approaches the lower region of the suspension, they will attract by particles already deposited as well as the neighboring particles, leading to formation of a arch. So arch kind of thing would be formed. Okay, the combination of the number of arcs leads to the honeycomb structure. So it looks like this. So this particular structure would be honeycomb. So when particle try to settle or it is carried away by the wind, okay, then what happens? So this would be attracted with the surface, and you can form this so much gap, honeycomb. If you apply some load here, if you walk on this one, the structure will be collapsed. Or if you apply some water to that particular silty soil, then what happens? It becomes dense, so volume reduces. Understand? Here it may not. Okay, because it is a contact between the all the grains. Here it's like a honeycomb structure. When you apply water or apply a load, the structure breaks. That's what it is given here. Okay, it is possible for fine sand or silt to get deposited such that particles, when settling, develops a particle to particle contact. Here particle to particle contact. Okay, that bridge over the large voids in the soil mass. So here sizes also been given. Okay, uh, the structure is so form is known as the honeycomb structure. The honeycomb structure usually develops when the particle size is in between 0.00 2 mm to 0.02 mm. If the particle size in this range, then we say that there may be chances of honeycomb structure. Understand? One is single grain structure, which is sand and the gravel, which is in a cohesionless soil. Silt also cohesionless soil only. There won't be any cohesion. Okay, much. And if this particle, if you make it in round shape, imagine, okay, and then if it is formed in this way, we call it a loose. This is, we can make it a dense. And second one is silty soil will have honeycomb structures, where fine sand or silty sand will have this honeycomb structure. Hope it is clear for you. Okay. Now coming to this particular flocculated structure, this would be in a clay soil actually, this flocculated. So here there may be some pictures. Okay. So the clay soil will have flocculated structures. Flocculated in the sense, these are the clay particles. Okay. So here there would be some negative and the positive charges on the surface of the clay. There would be a positive and the negative charges of on the surface of the clay. That means here the flocculated structure in clays, the clay particles have large surface area and therefore the electrical forces are important in such soils. The clay particle have negative charges on the surface and positive charges on the edges. So here this is the positive charge, this is the negative charge, here positive. Okay, so likewise all positive negative, the clay soil will have two charges. Okay, this is the flaky kind of, this is negative, this is positive. So edges will have positive, the surface will have negative. The fact, understand, that's what it is given. Okay, there will be a edge to edge or edge to face contact between the particles. That means wherever you see either edge to edge, okay, or edge to face contact will be there generally. So this kind of structure is called flocculated structure. It is observed in the clay soil. Okay, this is observed in the clay soil. If you disturb it, we call it as a dispersed structures. When you add water or something like that, okay, if you do it, then what will happen? It becomes dispersed. So this is called the dispersed structure. This is flocculated structure. Understand? So this is flocculated structure and this is dispersed structure. Dispersed means when you disturb it. Okay. So if you read it, the flocculated structure occurs in a clay. The clay particles have large surface area and therefore the electrical forces are important. In such soil, the clay particles have the negative charges on the surface and the positive charges on the edges. Interparticle contact develops between the positive charges, edges, and the negative charges, and this results in a flocculated structure. So flocculated structure is formed. Okay. So when the clay particle settles in a water, deposits have a flocculated structure. That means when clay particle settles in a water, so it will have this flocculated structure. Understand? So again, this is the dispersed structure. Dispersed structure is develops in a clay that have reworked or remolded. That means we disturbed. Okay, then what happens? This structure becomes the structures become dispersed. Understand? The structures become dispersed. Hope it is clear. Should I proceed? Please respond.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, fine. So what we are doing here is, in the last, please try to understand, and you have to read this subject very well. Okay, this is very important subject. What I'm trying to tell you is, first how the soil is formed, that we know. Okay, after formation of the soil, so we what we have seen is, we say that there are different types of the soil. Okay, anyway we'll go in detail. So one is sandy soil, gravelly soil, silty soil, and clayey soil, depending on their grain sizes. Okay, gravelly soil will have bigger size. Then after that sandy soil. After that silty soil, silts, we call it as silt. Then clay. Understand? So in that, these soils will have some structure. Understand? So single grain structure or honeycomb structure. Single grain will be sandy soil, and we have honeycomb structure with silt soil, and again we have this flocculated structure which is in a clay soil, and when you disturb it, it becomes dispersed structure. Hope that is clear. Now in addition to that, we have coarse grain skeleton and the clay matrix structure. Here this is the combination of sandy soil plus clay soil. Anyway, that would be there in the field, right? So if the coarse grain soils are more, and in between if you have soil like clay soil, then we call it as a coarse grain skeleton. That means the coarse grain skeleton is a composite structure which is formed when the soil contains the particle of different types compared with that of the fine grain clays particles, the bulky grain or particle to particle contacts. So here compared to the clay soil, we have particle to particle contacts. Okay, this particle forms a framework or a skeleton. The space between the bulky grains is occupied by clay particles. That means there are some clay particles, okay, in this, known as the binders. That means in a sandy soil, suppose if you have some clay, then what happens? It will try to bind. Clay will have a plasticity characteristic, like it will try to stick. So that's why we are able to make the Ganesh idol and so on, because we can mold it, the clay soil. Okay, so that characteristic it has. So if the clay soil combined with the sandy soil, and in this case the sand grains are more. Okay, in nature the bulky grains are deposited first during the sedimentation, and the binders is subsequently deposited. As long as the soil structure is not disturbed, the coarse grain skeleton can take heavy loads. This can take more load, okay, without much disturbance. If the structure is disturbed, the load is transferred from the coarse grain soil to the clay soil. If the structure is good, in between there is some bond between this grain size of sand and the clay, then it will take more load. Okay. If the structure is disturbed, then what will happen? Then load will be carried by the clay soil, and which is very soft. It won't carry any load. Next is clay matrix structure, is also composite structure formed by a soil of different types. However, in this case, the amount of clay is very large as compared to the bulky sandy soil. Okay. Here, look at the difference. Here, clay is more, but sand grains are less. Understand? We call it the clay matrix structure. The soils with the clay matrix structure have almost the same property of clay. It looks like clay only because somewhere one sand we have, okay, but it is almost a clay. Okay, their behavior is similar to the ordinary clay, but clay is there, but in that we have sand particles also. However, they are more stable. Okay, they are more stable as the disturbance has very little effect on the soil formation with a clay matrix structure. That means this here clay is more. It will behave like a clay only. Here in this case, we have sand more. In that very little clay is there, which helps for binding the soil, and it will take more load. Here, this is not the case. Understand? It won't take much load. So this is all about the structure. You can read about structures in this chapter. Okay. So now coming to our PPT, where we are. Okay. What we have seen today, we have seen the types of the soil structures. Okay, we have seen that we have single grain, honeycombs, flocculated, dispersed, and other structure like clay matrix and so on. Okay. Now, now what we'll see is, now we'll fully focus on the minerals of a soil, because as I said, sandy soil, like sand, is inert material. Okay, there won't be, you can say, mineral, because it is formed because of the physical weathering. But in the case of chemical weathering, okay, so we have some minerals in the clay. Understand? So we have some minerals. A soil particle may be a mineral or a rock fragment. A mineral is a chemical compound formed in nature during a geological process, whereas a rock fragment has combination of one or more minerals. Based on the nature of atoms, minerals are classified as silicates, aluminate, oxide, carbonates, and phosphates. Out of these, silicate minerals are the most important as they influence the property of the clay. So we have so many minerals. So silicate is more important. Okay. So what we'll study now is uh, clay minerals. Okay. Now we'll try to focus on the clay only. Clay will have some minerals. So because why we have to focus on clay? Because we have to understand clay. Anyway, sand and the gravelly soil is good for our construction. But why the clay is not good for our construction, civil engineering construction? Because when it comes in contact with the water, it try to expand or try to shrink. Hope you might have seen, right? When you add water to the clay, it will try to swell, and after drying the water, it will try to shrink, and that's why you could see so many cracks, right? If you visit some field, okay, next day, after rainy day, next day you visit it, you will see on the rainy day, next day you will see some expansion in this clay soil when you walk it. After that, 1 or 2 days, when it become dry, then you can see the cracks in the clay. It will try to shrink. So this behavior is not good for our construction. So it will swell and shrink. So because of that, it will try to lift our foundations. Okay, because of that, it will. What happens? There may be some cracks in the building because of the swell and the shrink characteristic of the clay soil. That's why you see, uh, we should not construct our buildings in a clay soil. Okay, clay field. But if you see in Trichy, okay, you just check it, both the side, okay. So all buildings are constructed in the field only. People are not aware, okay. So what is happening is the life would be less of these buildings, because it is wholly constructed on the clay soil. You could see some cracks in the building also. So now this clay will have some minerals. Understand? So now we'll focus on these minerals, clay minerals. Okay. Hope it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Now, so what did you study till now? Structures we are very clear. Okay, honeycomb structure, single grain structure, flocculated, dispersed, and some matrix structure and all that you can read. Now, what we are doing is we are just focusing on the clay, only clay. So clay will have the minerals. So clay minerals are very tiny crystalline substances evolved primarily from the chemical weathering. As we have discussed, clay would be formed by the chemical weathering. There won't be, okay, not because of the physical weathering. Some chemical reaction will take place with this when you come contact with the water, because of the weathering. Okay, Then some chemical reaction takes place, and from that clay would be formed. They're complex aluminosilicate plus other metallic ions. Okay, so here now you focus on this one. Different arrangements of atoms in the silicate minerals give rise to different silicate structure. Okay, clay minerals are composite of two basic units. One is silica tetrahedron and the alumina octahedron. These two units are held together by ionic bond. That means we there are so many minerals are there, but this silica, okay, and the alumina, these are the two minerals are very important. Here silica unit consists of a silicon ion surrounded by four oxygen or a hydroxyl ion. This means the black dot is, okay, silica or alumina, you can say. You can say silica, suppose, okay. Silica ion surrounded by a four oxygen or hydroxyl ion. Then for our this one, uh, what you say, we can define this particular combination like a sheet, silica sheet, with like this, okay, trapezoidum kind of silica sheet. This is for our convenience only, okay. Now, then alumina or magnesium will have octahedral units. That means the octahedral unit has the alumina ion or magnesium ion endorsed by 6 hydroxyl or a, you can say, oxygen ions are in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And if we represent this with a rectangular sheet, this is for our convenience. Hope you are following. So what is happening is, this is a silica sheet, okay. The combination of tetrahedron silica, we have so many silica, okay. Middle we have silica 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have like this. Middle 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it is in a tetrahedron form. Okay, tetrahedron. So this all joins and it become like sheet like this. Understand? Like this, it will join and it become a sheet. So we are we are assuming this is as a sheet in this way, silica sheet, and this would be a rectangular sheet. Hope you are following, okay? This is silica sheet which have tetrahedron 1, 2, 3, 4. This is octahedron 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we are representing with this rectangular sheet. Now, so two sheets are ready for us. Understand? One is silica, second one is alumina sheet. So now I will not discuss about like this. I will not show this form. I will show in this form only now. This is silica sheet, means this one only, which is having 4 hydroxyl or oxygen ions. This is alumina sheet having 6 hydroxyl or oxygen ion, and I'm representing with this one. Hope this is clear, okay? This is silica sheet, this is alumina sheet. So I'm not going to discuss this one now, okay? So I have converted into this type of sheet. Now clay mineral will have, clay will have 3 minerals, which is kaolinite, illite and montmorillonite, or kaolinite and montmorillonite illite. We are following. Just again I will explain you. This is the basic structure. Basic structure is clay minerals are made of two distinct structure unit. One is silicon tetrahedron, second one is aluminum octahedron. Silicon, in the middle of the silicon would be there here, and 4 oxygen or hydroxyl ion 1, 2, 3, 4, and this will form like a sheet that we have shown you. Second one is aluminum or a magnesium. Here oxygen are a hydroxyl ions. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 means octahedron. So this is one sheet and this is one sheet. This is rectangular sheet. This is like a trapezoidal sheet. Okay. Now coming to the so these are the sheets I have made it. This is for our convenience. Okay, this is for our convenience. Now coming to that minerals, clay will have kaolinite mineral. So how it looks like, the structure of the kaolinite? It is the combination of alumina sheet and the silica sheet. Alumina sheet, silica sheet, alumina sheet, silica sheet, alumina sheet, silica sheet. Joined by the strong hydrogen bond. No easy separation. It is very difficult to separate it. Alumina sheet, silica sheet, alumina sheet. So what is this alumina sheet and silica sheet? Already we have seen. This is a silica sheet. This is the alumina sheet. It's like a cap, like, right? Cap. Alumina police cap. Alumina sheet, silica sheet. Alumina sheet, silica sheet. It is joined by a strong hydrogen bond. This kaolinite mineral, okay, would be in this form. Next mineral is Montmorillon mineral. This is very important mineral. Here it is also called smectite. Okay, here what is happening is this silica sheet, sorry, alumina sheet is sandwiched between both the silica sheet. Look at the difference. Alumina sheet is sandwiched between both silica sheet here. Again, it's looking like a cap, like sub-inspector cap, something like that. Alumina sheet is sandwiched between two silica sheet. Here we have water. It will try to absorb water, easily separated by water, joined by a weak bond. Here the bond is little weak. We can separate it. Alumina is sandwiched in between the two silica sheet. Again, two silica sheets are with the water here. Okay. So this is what the Montmorillonite. So this particular mineral is because of this mineral, the clay soil will try to swell and shrink. They will ask in all competitive exams, GATE, engineering services, IAS, or any interview. Okay, they will ask you. Okay, so which is the mineral responsible for swell and the shrink of the clay soil? You should say that Montmorillon mineral. Okay, and they may ask, can you define the structure of Montmorillonite? You should say that these alumina sheets are sandwiched between the two silica sheet, and again it is bonded with hydrogen bond. You can say a weaker bond with the water. Okay, so this is the structure. Next is the illite. Here again the aluminum sheet is sandwiched between the silica sheet, but here there is no water. Here joined by a K plus potassium ions. Understand? So this is the structure of illite. And illite is a very inert material. Okay, it will not have any much effect on the clay soil. Which mineral will have more effect on the clay soil? The Montmorillonite mineral will have the more effect, which is the responsible for swell, shrink, and everything. So this is the expansive. Yeah. So expansive soil will have these minerals most dramatical way. Okay. So what is happening is kaolinite is a virtually non-expansive due to the strong hydrogen bond. It will not expand much. Illite contains weaker potassium bonds and that allows limited expansion, but problem occurs in the soil with a high Montmorillonite mineral. That means if the Montmorillon mineral is more in the clay soil, which is more dangerous, and we should be very careful that we should check it that which mineral it has. If the Montmorillonite mineral is there, that means it will try to swell, shrink, and it will damage all our structure. Okay, So these are the structure, flocculated, dispersed. We can do this ACM analysis, scanning electron microscopic. Okay, when you try to do the clay particles, you can see this flaky kind of behavior in the clay. Whatever you see, this flaky, right? This we can see by microscope. We can generally we do test. Okay, my research scholar, PhD scholar will do test. So whenever we do some test in the clay soil, I will ask them to get it done ACM analysis for this clay, and we'll see that what kind of minerals it has. We have in NIT also, and IITs also we have this kind of test. Okay, so ACM analysis, we call it as ACM analysis. Okay, scanning electron microscopic test. In that we can see that flaky behavior and so on. Okay, platelet kind of things. So because of this Montmorillon mineral, this leaning tower of Pisa is leaning. Okay, so look at this one. This is the expansive soil which is having rich Montmorillonite mineral. After rainy season, you could see the shrink. When you add water to that, it will try to swell. So this kind of soil we must avoid it for our construction. This is not at all good for our construction. It will expand with the water, and you can see some cracks in the building. Okay, because of this mineral, because of this soil. Okay, so you could see some cracks in the buildings. Look at the cracks. Okay, 45 degrees cracks because they have constructed in the loose that clay soil. All the structures are in clay soil. That's the reason it is settling down, and you could see all this one. Understand? So where do you see this particular chapter in our book? Hope you people are following.
Sixth.
Following? Please respond.
Sixth chapter.
Sixth chapter. Yeah. So what we have studied today? We have studied this structure, clay structure, soil structure. You read this one, okay? And we have studied from the beginning, just it will be there. Sixth chapter, you go in detail, okay? So sixth chapter, clay mineralogy and the soil structure. This is what given gravitational and some okay ratio, surface ratio, primary influence, okay, something like that. You can go this one. You can read it. You can understand easily. Some hydrogen bond. In basics they have given, okay, plus minus and so on. So these are the things I have explained, okay? Tetrahedron, basic structure of clay minerals especially. So here silica is there, oxygen, 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 4 oxygen. I have made it like this. Okay, this again it will form like this, and ultimately for our convenience I have made it like this. Okay, then you have these octave units where I have made this gibbsite, we call it as, okay, or aluminum. Okay, here aluminum is there, 1 2 3 4 5 6, then it will form like a sheet like this. We call it as a sheet, and I'm representing like this. Understand? So we are here, I'm representing like this for our convenience only. Okay, then what is happening now, what I'm doing is just I'm discussing about these minerals. So both are alternate, or aluminum silicate or gypsum silicate. This is called kaolin with the hydrogen bond, strong hydrogen bond you have here. Okay, strong hydrogen bond. Again, we have Montmorillon mineral, which is, I said, very, very important. So they will ask in all competitive exam this Montmorillonite. Okay, so this Montmorillon is the common mineral group. Okay, so here what is happening is, here we have water molecule here. Here alternate, this is silica is sandwiched between the two alumina or gibbsite. Here is the water. That's the reason it will try to expand. This water will, this will try to expand in this direction. Okay, that's why it will try to swell because of this Montmorillon minerals, because it's their structure is like this. The Montmorillon structure is in this such a way that this silica sheet is sandwiched between the two alumina, and again there would be a water molecule. Next is illite. Here we have potassium ions. Okay, again it is sandwiched, and we have potassium ion, and it's not expansive. It won't expand much. And the electrical charges of clay minerals, okay, we have clay minerals and so on, it is given. And finally, there are, see, look at all clay minerals with negative charges. Here there would be positive. Water is a dipolar, okay, it will have plus and minus. Water will have plus and minus, that's why it will attract with that. And that's why uh, there would be some bond between this clay and the water. And there is a layer called diffuse double layer. This is also very, very important. You read this one. They will ask in all competitive exams. Okay. So this is the soil particle with negative charges, all negative charges, and it is combined with the positive water. And again, what is happening is there would be a layer form. That's why in clay, it is very difficult to remove water from the clay. What we have to do? We have to put in a oven to dry. Is it not? To find the water content of a soil. So this is what the diffuse double layer. This is very, very important. So this is the water absorbed by the clay, and some layer would be formed, diffuse layer would be formed. That layer is very, very difficult to remove. That particular water from the clay is very, very difficult to remove. The faces of a clay mineral carries a net negative charges, okay, have either positive or charges and so on, and there would be diffuse double layer formation because of this one. Very, very important. Okay, this the water from the diffuse double layer is very difficult to remove it. Understand? So it is called the absorbed water. So likewise, with that we have seen whole chapter. Okay, so clay mineralogy structure and all, with that we have finished this chapter. So read it very carefully. Very, very important chapter. This is sorry, this one, sixth one. Maybe next class we'll go with other topic. Okay, so I'm stopping today. So what we have seen today,